Okay, so today we're going to be looking at El Libro de los Espíritus.
Or The Book of Spirits by
Right.
Allan Kardec.
Right.
And this one was actually suggested by you guys. So, thanks for sending it in.
Yeah,
It's definitely an intriguing one.
absolutely.
And, when I first saw the title, I thought, oh, this is going to be,
Mhm.
like a collection of ghost stories or something. But it's actually much deeper than that.
It is.
It's really more of a philosophical exploration of the spirit world. We're talking life, death, reincarnation, the whole shebang.
Yeah, the thing that makes El Libro de los Espíritus so fascinating
Mm.
is how Kardec presents it.
Okay.
It's not like he's putting forward his own theories or anything like that.
Right.
He frames it as a series of responses that he received directly from spirits
Oh,
through mediums.
Really?
Like, he was actually communicating with the other side
wow.
and documenting their answers to his questions.
So it's like a direct line to the spirit world.
Exactly.
That's why
It's a really unique approach, and it really resonated with people
I can imagine.
because it's like he's offering this glimpse behind the veil,
Yeah.
revealing these secrets about the afterlife and the nature of reality.
That's pretty powerful stuff.
It is.
And he doesn't shy away from the big questions either.
No, he doesn't.
I mean, he's asking things like, does the soul survive death?
Mm-mm.
Can we communicate with those who've passed on?
Right.
Do we get multiple shots at this whole life thing?
Exactly.
I mean, these are questions that people have been grappling with for centuries.
Absolutely.
And El Libro de los Espíritus lays out this whole system for understanding these concepts.
Right. And that's what drew people in.
Right.
It wasn't just a collection of spooky stories.
Right.
It offered this sense of order, this framework for understanding these huge existential questions.
Yeah, it's like putting a puzzle together.
Exactly.
You have all these pieces, but you don't know how they fit until you have that picture to guide you.
Exactly.
It's like a roadmap to the spirit world.
It is,
Oh, sort of.
in a way.
Okay, so let's start with the basics.
Sure.
One of the first things the book tackles is the very nature of the spirit world.
Right.
It paints this picture of a whole other dimension coexisting with our own,
Mm-hmm.
inhabited by spirits who are constantly interacting with us.
And influencing us,
Right.
whether we realize it or not.
So it's like we're living in this parallel universe,
In a way, yes.
but we're just not tuned into it.
Exactly. We're just not aware of it most of the time.
And to understand this interaction,
Yeah.
we're introduced to this fascinating concept.
Okay.
The three elements that make up a human being,
Right.
the body,
Hmm.
the soul.
Often referred to as the spirit inhabiting the body.
Okay.
And something called the paraspirit.
The perispirit.
Yeah.
That one's new to me.
Okay, so the paraspirit,
Yeah.
think of it as an energy field,
Okay.
a kind of link between the physical body and the soul.
Okay.
It's what allows the spirit to interact with the physical world,
Mhm.
both while we're alive and after we die.
Interesting.
That's like a bridge between the two.
So it's how our eternal self interacts with this temporary physical form
Precise.
and even the world around us.
Exactly.
That's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is.
And this is where things get really interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
El Libro de los Espíritus suggests that this life, this experience we're having right now, isn't our only one.
Right.
It delves into the concept of reincarnation,
Okay.
the idea that we come back to the physical world time and again.
To learn and grow spiritually.
Okay, reincarnation. It's one of those concepts that always sparks curiosity.
Yeah.
Is it like a cosmic do-over, a chance to get things right?
It's more than just hitting the reset button.
Right.
According to El Libro de los Espíritus, reincarnation is about the soul's journey towards a state of perfection.
So it's like we're all on this quest to become the best versions of ourselves.
Exactly. It's an evolution through diverse experiences, each life building upon the last.
So each lifetime is a chance to learn new lessons, evolve our understanding of the universe,
Yeah.
and become better versions of ourselves.
Exactly. Each life is like a chapter in a much larger story.
I like that.
And the experiences we have, the choices we make, all contribute to our soul's progress.
So it's like we're writing our own spiritual biographies,
That's a great way to put it.
one chapter at a time.
Exactly.
And this concept of spiritual growth is directly related to another key aspect of El Libro de los Espíritus,
Okay.
the spiritual hierarchy.
Spiritual hierarchy. Is there like a ranking system in the spirit world too?
In a way, yes.
Okay.
The book categorizes spirits into three main orders based on their level of spiritual advancement:
Interesting.
pure spirits,
Mhm.
good spirits,
Okay.
and imperfect spirits.
So it's not like a judgment, but rather a reflection of where each spirit is on their evolutionary journey.
I see.
just like we have different levels of understanding and maturity here on Earth.
Makes sense.
Spirits also exist on a spectrum of growth.
So who are these pure spirits?
Okay, so the pure spirits,
Yeah.
they're kind of like the cosmic all-stars.
Okay.
These are spirits who have achieved a high level of spiritual enlightenment and understanding.
So they've graduated from the School of Hard Knocks.
You could say that.
Okay.
They've gone through countless lifetimes, learned valuable lessons, and embody a profound level of love and wisdom.
Wow.
And now they exist to guide and assist other spirits on their journey.
So they're like the wise elders of the spirit world.
Exactly.
And the good spirits.
Okay, the good spirits.
Yeah, what defines them?
These are spirits who are well on their way up that spiritual ladder,
Okay.
driven by a sincere desire to do good and help others.
Including us here on Earth?
Yes, including us.
That's reassuring.
They may still have lessons to learn,
Right.
but their intentions are pure, and they often act as guides and protectors.
Like guardian angels.
Exactly like guardian angels.
Okay, so if the pure spirits are the all-stars and the good spirits are the up-and-comers,
Yeah.
where do the imperfect spirits fit in?
So the imperfect spirits, they're still figuring things out. They're still grappling with earthly desires.
Right.
And might be more prone to mischief or even causing harm.
So they're like the troublemakers of the spirit world.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
They represent a stage of spiritual immaturity,
Got it.
still attached to material desires,
Hmm.
and prone to making choices that hinder their spiritual progress.
So this isn't to say they're evil.
Right.
But rather that they haven't yet grasped the bigger picture.
Exactly. They're like students in a cosmic school
I like that analogy.
who haven't quite grasped the lesson plan yet.
Right.
Their choices often stem from fear, ignorance, or a lack of understanding about the true nature of reality.
This entire concept of a spiritual hierarchy, it makes you wonder, what impact do these different spirit orders have on us in our everyday lives?
That's where the concept of spirit communication comes in.
Okay.
And it's one of the most intriguing aspects of El Libro de los Espíritus.
So are we saying like we can actually connect with these different spirit orders?
That's exactly what El Libro de los Espíritus explores. It suggests we can communicate with spirits, both those further along and those still developing,
Really?
through various mediums, dreams, even our own intuition.
Wait, are you saying those late night conversations I have in Dreamland could actually be chats with spirits?
It's a possibility the book dives into.
Huh. I'm going to have to start taking those a little more seriously.
All right.
Because that would explain a lot about some of those conversations, actually.
It's a fascinating idea, though, right?
It is.
If we think about it,
Yeah.
if we are spirits having a human experience, as El Libro de los Espíritus suggests,
Right.
then communication between the physical and spiritual realms wouldn't seem so far-fetched, would it?
That's a really good point.
Right?
It makes the idea of, say, guardian angels a lot more tangible, too. Like, if these benevolent spirits are out there, kind of makes sense that they'd try to, like, guide us or something.
Exactly. El Libro de los Espíritus suggests that everyone has guardian spirits.
Whoa!
These wise and loving beings who watch over us,
Okay.
offering subtle guidance and support from the spirit world.
So they've got our backs.
They're like spiritual mentors, helping us navigate the complexities of life and make choices that align with our highest good.
I like that.
Right?
It's a nice thought.
It is.
Especially when you consider that not all spirits are necessarily looking out for our best interests.
Right.
What about those less evolved spirits?
Okay.
The imperfect ones.
So the perfect spirit.
Can mess with us.
The book acknowledges that less evolved spirits can indeed influence our thoughts and actions, especially if we're unaware of their presence.
So we got to be on the lookout.
Well, it's more about being aware
Okay.
than being afraid.
Okay, that's fair.
They might try to tempt us towards negative choices, amplify our fears and doubts,
Oh, boy.
or even sow discord in our lives.
So they're like the unruly classmates in our cosmic school,
That's a great way to put it.
trying to trip us up in the hallway.
Exactly.
I like it.
But here's the crucial part.
Okay.
El Libro de los Espíritus emphasizes free will.
Okay, good.
We always have the power to choose which influences we allow into our lives,
Okay.
whether those influences are coming from the physical world or the spiritual realm.
So we're not puppets
Right.
at the mercy of whatever spirit happens to be hanging around.
Exactly. We have a say in who gets a seat at our spiritual table.
I like that. Right.
So how do we do that?
How do we do?
How do we beef up our spiritual immunity and attract the good vibes?
That's a great question. And the book suggests several practices, many of which you've probably heard before.
Like what?
Prayer meditation, acts of kindness.
Okay.
Surrounding ourselves with positive influences.
Right.
These are not just feel-good activities.
No.
They're tools for aligning ourselves with higher frequencies,
I see.
with those more evolved energies.
It's like choosing who we want to hang out with.
Exactly.
Energetically speaking?
Precisely. Like attracts, right?
Right.
And the more we focus on cultivating positive energy within ourselves and in our surroundings, the less room we give those less evolved spirits to influence us.
It's about setting boundaries. Exactly. It's about consciously choosing who we want to be in the world and what kind of energy we want to align ourselves with.
This whole conversation makes you think about the afterlife in a whole new light.
It does, doesn't it?
If our spiritual evolution continues after we die, what does El Livre de los Espíritus say happens when we cross over?
It offers a perspective that's both comforting and empowering.
Okay.
El Libro de los Espíritus emphasizes that death isn't an ending,
Okay.
but a transition.
Okay.
The soul, freed from the physical body, simply returns to the spirit world,
Okay.
carrying with it the lessons learned and the progress made during its earthly sojourn.
So it's less of a full stop and more of a comma.
I like that.
A pause in the grand symphony of the soul. And the experiences we have in the spirit world are directly influenced by the choices we made,
Right.
the actions we took during our physical lives.
Precisely.
So that begs the question,
Well, that's good.
are we stuck with those consequences forever?
That's a big question.
If we mess up in this life, are we destined for some kind of eternal timeout?
That's where El Libro de los Espíritus offers a message of hope and growth.
Okay, good.
It suggests that the spirit world is not a place of static judgment,
Okay.
but rather a dynamic realm of ongoing learning and evolution.
So there's room for redemption,
Absolutely.
for righting past wrongs, even after we've shed these earthly bodies.
The book highlights the concept of expiation,
Expiation.
which is not about punishment,
Okay.
but about recognizing the impact of our actions
Yeah.
and seeking to make amends. It's about growth, about evolving our understanding of compassion and accountability.
So even if we make mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
even if we stray from the path,
Right.
there's always a chance for a cosmic do-over.
In a way, yes.
Okay, I like that.
Each lifetime is a new opportunity for growth, for learning, for making different choices. El Libro de los Espíritus suggests that our journey towards spiritual perfection is ongoing,
Okay.
and that we all have the potential to evolve, to learn from our mistakes, and to ultimately choose a path of love and wisdom.
Okay, but what about those really big mistakes?
Okay.
The ones that some might say deserve eternal punishment.
Right.
Does El Libro de los Espíritus believe in heaven and hell?
It doesn't depict heaven and hell in the traditional fire and brimstone sense.
Okay.
Instead, it offers a more nuanced view, suggesting that our experiences after death are a direct reflection of our spiritual development.
So less about being judged as good or bad,
Exactly.
and more about where we are on our spiritual journey.
Precisely.
Yeah.
The book describes different spiritual states,
Okay.
each reflecting the level of advancement a spirit has achieved.
Got it.
These states are not permanent destinations, but rather stages on a continuum of growth.
Okay.
The higher we ascend on this spiritual ladder, the closer we get to a state of pure bliss, wisdom, and understanding.
So it's like leveling up in a cosmic video game.
That's a great analogy.
The more good choices we make, the more we learn and grow,
Right.
the higher our spiritual XP.
Exactly. And just like in a video game,
Yes.
some levels are more challenging than others. We might choose to face difficult obstacles to confront our shadows in order to learn valuable lessons and accelerate our spiritual growth.
But if everyone eventually reaches this state of spiritual bliss,
Okay.
even those who've made some questionable choices,
Right.
does that mean there's no real consequence for our actions?
El Libro de los Espíritus suggests that the consequences are felt,
Okay.
but they're not about punishment.
Okay.
They're about growth.
What do you mean?
Okay, so imagine a spirit who, during their earthly life, was driven by greed,
Okay.
accumulating wealth at the expense of others.
Right.
In the spirit world, they might experience the suffering they caused not as a punishment,
Okay.
but as a way to understand the impacts of their actions and to cultivate compassion.
So it's like a cosmic wake-up call, a way of understanding the ripple effects of our choices on a deeper level.
Precisely. And this process of expiation,
Right.
of recognizing and atoning for our mistakes, can be challenging.
Right.
It requires humility, self-reflection, and a genuine desire to evolve.
It makes you think about all the times we might have caused harm, even unintentionally,
Right.
and the importance of seeking forgiveness and making amends.
Absolutely. El Libro de los Espíritus emphasizes that this process of reflection and atonement is a vital part of our spiritual evolution.
Okay.
It's not about dwelling on guilt, but about learning from our mistakes and striving to do better in the future,
Right.
both for our own growth and for the well-being of others.
This is heavy stuff.
It is.
But it's also incredibly hopeful
It is hopeful.
to think that we have this capacity for growth, for redemption, even after we're gone.
It's a beautiful thought,
It is.
and it highlights the beauty of reincarnation.
Okay.
El Libro de los Espíritus suggests that we return to Earth lifetime after lifetime,
Yeah.
not to be punished for past mistakes,
Okay.
but to continue this journey of growth, to learn new lessons, and to evolve towards a state of greater love and wisdom.
Okay, but here's a question I've always had about reincarnation.
Okay, what's that?
If we're coming back again and again, learning and growing with each lifetime,
Right.
why don't we remember our past lives?
That is a question that comes up a lot.
Right.
And El Libro de los Espíritus addresses this directly.
Okay.
And it offers a really interesting perspective.
Okay, I'm listening.
It suggests that remembering our past lives might actually hinder our progress in this one.
Really? How so?
Imagine carrying the weight of all your past mistakes,
Oh, wow.
all the pain you've caused, every bad decision you've ever made.
Yeah,
Would that burden help you move forward in a positive way?
probably not.
Or would it weigh you down, hold you back from embracing the present moment and the opportunity for growth that this life offers?
That's a really good point. It's like
Wow.
carrying around a giant backpack full of emotional baggage from all those past lives. Not exactly conducive to living your best life now.
Not at all. And El Libro de los Espíritus reminds us that even though we may not consciously remember our past lives,
Right.
we do carry within us on a soul level
Okay.
the imprint of those experiences.
Interesting.
It shapes our inclinations, our strengths, our weaknesses,
Okay.
even our karmic debts and lessons we're here to learn.
So it's like having a subconscious guide
That's a great way to put it.
based on where we've been and where we're headed spiritually speaking.
Exactly.
And this brings us to another central theme of El Libro de los Espíritus,
Okay.
the moral and social laws that govern our existence, both here on Earth and in the spirit world.
Right. These laws are essential to understanding the framework that Kardec lays out.
We touched on this earlier
We did.
with the idea of a spiritual hierarchy.
Right.
How did these laws factor into our journey?
These laws, as outlined in the book,
Yeah.
aren't about rigid rules or punishments.
Oh, okay.
They're more like universal principles,
Mm-hmm.
reflecting a divine order that guides us toward a more just and compassionate way of being.
So more like cosmic guidelines for living a good life.
Exactly. And these guidelines are rooted in principles like charity, equality, the importance of work and progress, and of course, free will.
It seems like El Libro de los Espíritus really emphasizes free will.
It's a cornerstone of spiritualist thought.
Okay.
We have the freedom to make choices,
Right.
to learn from our experiences, to evolve at our own pace.
Okay.
But this freedom comes with a responsibility to align ourselves with these universal laws,
Okay.
to make choices that contribute to the greater good.
So it's not enough to just focus on our own personal growth.
Right.
We also need to consider how our actions impact others
Mhm.
and the world around us.
That's a key takeaway. El Libro de los Espíritus stresses the importance of recognizing the interconnectedness of all beings.
Right.
We are all part of a larger web of life,
Mm-hmm.
and our actions have ripple effects that extend far beyond our individual experiences.
So how do these moral and social laws play out in our day-to-day lives?
That's the big question, right?
Right.
It's about looking at our everyday choices and actions
Mm-hmm.
and asking ourselves,
Yeah.
are we living in alignment with these principles?
So what does it actually look like?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What does it actually look like to live in alignment with these laws?
Right.
It's about making choices that reflect our highest values,
Mm.
treating others with kindness and compassion,
Right.
striving for fairness and equality in all our interactions,
Okay.
and contributing to a more just and compassionate world through our actions, both big and small.
It sounds a lot like what many spiritual traditions teach.
It does, doesn't it?
The golden rule, the idea of karma,
Mm-hmm.
treating others how we want to be treated.
Exactly, yeah. El Libro de los Espíritus suggests that by striving to live in alignment with these universal laws,
Yeah.
we're not just being good people,
Right.
we're also actively contributing to our spiritual evolution,
Okay.
both in this life and the next.
So it's like a cosmic win-win.
Exactly.
Living a virtuous life benefits not only the world around us, but also our own souls in the grand scheme of things.
Precisely. And El Libro de los Espíritus doesn't just focus on external actions.
Okay.
It also emphasizes the importance of internal work,
Okay, what does that mean?
cultivating virtues like patience, humility, forgiveness.
Oh, okay.
It reminds us that true spiritual progress involves both outward actions and inward transformation.
So it's about being mindful of our thoughts, our intentions.
Exactly.
The energy we're putting out into the world, not just our actions themselves.
We got it. It's about recognizing that our inner world shapes our outer reality,
Right.
and that cultivating inner peace, love, and compassion is essential for creating a better world for ourselves and for everyone around us.
That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
It's hard to create positive change in the world if you're harboring a lot of negativity within yourself.
Precisely. And El Libro de los Espíritus provides a framework for understanding these connections between our internal and external worlds.
Right.
It encourages us to look inward, to examine our motivations, and to cultivate qualities that are conducive to spiritual growth.
This is all so fascinating.
It is.
But there's one aspect of El Libro de los Espíritus that we haven't explored yet.
Okay.
The concept of spirit communication.
Spirit communication.
It's something that many people find intriguing and maybe a little bit spooky,
A little bit.
to be honest.
It's definitely a topic that sparks a lot of curiosity and even some fear.
For sure.
But it's important to remember that El Libro de los Espíritus approaches this topic with a sense of reverence and respect.
Okay.
It's not about summoning ghosts for thrills
Right.
or trying to exploit the spirit world for personal gain.
Okay, good.
It's about deepening our understanding of the unseen forces that surround us and potentially connecting with those who have passed on.
So we're not supposed to be asking spirits for winning lottery numbers
Yeah, not really.
or trying to get dirt on our enemies from beyond the grave?
That's not the point.
Okay, good to know.
The book cautions against approaching spirit communication with frivolous or self-serving intentions. It emphasizes that this type of connection should be treated with the utmost respect, with a genuine desire for knowledge, guidance, and understanding.
So if we're not supposed to be asking spirits for favors or gossip,
Right.
what's the point of communicating with them?
That's a good question.
What can we hope to gain from it?
El Libro de los Espíritus suggests that communicating with spirits, when approached with the right intentions
Okay.
and under the right circumstances, can provide us with valuable insights into the nature of the afterlife,
Okay.
the process of reincarnation, and the moral laws that govern our existence.
Okay.
It can offer comfort, guidance, and even inspiration as we navigate the challenges of life and death.
It's like having access to a cosmic library
That's a great way to put it.
where we can consult with those who have experienced the other side.
Exactly.
Learn from their wisdom and gain a broader perspective on our own journeys.
Precisely. And El Libro de los Espíritus explores various methods of spirit communication,
Okay, like what?
from the transmission of messages through automatic writing
Okay.
to the more direct communication that occurs through mediums.
Mediums,
Yeah.
those who can directly communicate with spirits.
Exactly.
It's something that many people find fascinating
It is.
and a little bit intimidating, to be honest.
I understand that.
What does El Libro de los Espíritus have to say about mediums?
The book suggests that mediums act as intermediaries between the physical and spiritual realms,
Okay.
facilitating communication between those who are living and those who have passed on.
So it's like having a spiritual telephone line,
In a way,
allowing us to connect with loved ones who've crossed over.
that's the idea.
Okay. And El Libro de los Espíritus describes various forms of mediumship,
It does.
from channeling messages through automatic writing or speaking,
Right.
to more physical manifestations of spirit presence.
Right. Different mediums have different abilities and ways of connecting.
Okay. I have to admit, that's the part that always makes me a little nervous.
I understand.
But if we can actually talk to spirits, what kind of questions should we be asking?
That's a big one.
Right.
And El Libro de los Espíritus cautions against asking frivolous or self-serving questions.
Yeah, okay.
The emphasis is on seeking guidance on matters of spiritual importance, on understanding the laws that govern our existence,
Right.
and on gaining insights that can help us progress on our soul's journey.
So it's less about getting the inside scoop on the afterlife and more about seeking wisdom and understanding that can help us live better lives here and now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The focus should always be on growth and evolution.
That's fascinating.
It is.
But if spirits are all around us and they have this wisdom to share,
Right.
why all this secrecy?
That's an interesting question.
Why not just tell us everything?
Well, the book addresses this question.
Okay.
It suggests that spirits are limited in how much they can interfere in our lives.
Why is that?
Well, think about it.
Yeah.
Would it be easier if they just spelled everything out for us?
Maybe?
Would we learn and grow if we were constantly spoon-fed information from the spirit world?
Probably not.
We need to experience life
Right.
to make our own choices,
Right.
to stumble and learn from our mistakes.
Yeah.
It's through this process of trial and error that our souls evolve.
So it's like having a cosmic training ground
Exactly.
where we can learn and grow at our own pace, even if it means making a few wrong turns along the way.
That's the beauty of it.
And while spirits may not be able to directly interfere in our lives,
Right.
El Libro de los Espíritus suggests that they can still guide us,
They can.
offer subtle suggestions, and inspire us to make choices that align with our highest good.
Exactly. It's about being open to those subtle nudges from the universe.
So it's less about getting a detailed roadmap and more about learning to trust our intuition,
Yes.
those whispers of wisdom that might be coming from the other side.
Precisely. And Livre de los Espíritus encourages us to pay attention to these subtle cues, to cultivate our sensitivity to the spiritual realm, and to approach communication with spirits with an open mind and a discerning heart.
That makes sense.
Right.
But how do we know if the guidance we're receiving is actually coming from a benevolent source?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Right.
How do we differentiate between the wisdom of a higher being and, say, the ramblings of a mischievous spirit?
Exactly.
El Libro de los Espíritus offers some helpful guidance on this.
Oh, good.
It suggests that messages from truly evolved spirits will always align with those universal laws we discussed earlier.
Okay.
They'll emphasize love, compassion, understanding, and the importance of striving for the greater good.
So if you're getting advice that feels shady, selfish, or mean-spirited,
Exactly.
it's probably a good idea to question the source.
Trust your gut. The book also suggests paying attention to the overall feeling you get from a particular spirit communication.
Okay.
Does it fill you with peace, love,
Yeah.
and a sense of connection?
Right.
Or does it evoke fear, anxiety, or confusion?
So it's about trusting our gut, our intuition,
Exactly.
to guide us and to help us determine whether a particular communication feels right or wrong.
You got it. And this is where cultivating our own spiritual strength becomes so important.
Okay.
The stronger our connection to our own inner wisdom, the better equipped we are to discern between benevolent guidance and potentially harmful influences.
That makes sense.
It does.
So how do we actually cultivate this inner strength?
How do we strengthen that connection?
Yeah, the spiritual discernment.
El Libro de los Espíritus mentions prayer meditation. Are there other practices that can help us strengthen our connection to the divine and to our own inner wisdom?
What else can we do?
Absolutely. El Libro de los Espíritus highlights the importance of living in accordance with those universal laws we discussed earlier.
Okay.
It's about making choices that reflect our highest values, practicing kindness and compassion,
Right.
striving to be the best versions of ourselves.
It's about walking the walk.
Exactly. It's about aligning our actions with our aspirations.
It sounds like El Libro de los Espíritus is encouraging a holistic approach to spiritual growth,
It is.
tending to our inner world through practices like prayer and meditation, while also actively working to create a more loving and just world around us.
You've hit the nail on the head. And this approach, according to El Libro de los Espíritus,
Yeah.
isn't just about securing a spot in a heavenly realm after we die.
Right.
It's about living a more fulfilling and meaningful life right here, right now.
So it's not about escaping from the material world,
Right.
but rather about finding ways to infuse our earthly experience with greater purpose and meaning.
Exactly. And El Libro de los Espíritus offers some practical guidance on how to do just that.
Okay.
It encourages us to find joy in simple pleasures,
Okay.
to nurture meaningful relationships, and to contribute to the well-being of others.
So it's about finding that sweet spot
Yes.
between our spiritual aspirations and our earthly experience.
Right.
Recognizing that both are valuable and intertwined.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this brings us back to the core message of El Libro de los Espíritus.
Okay.
We are spiritual beings having a human experience.
Right.
And that experience is full of challenges, joys, and endless opportunities for growth.
It's a lot to take in, but incredibly inspiring.
It is inspiring.
Before we wrap up our deep dive into El Libro de los Espíritus,
Yes.
are there any final thoughts you'd like to share with our listeners?
Sure.
especially those who might be feeling a bit overwhelmed by all this talk of spirits and reincarnation.
I think it's important to remember that El Libro de los Espíritus doesn't present itself as a rigid doctrine or a set of rules to follow blindly.
Okay.
It offers a framework for understanding the deeper meaning of our existence,
Right.
but it also encourages us to approach these concepts with an open mind and a discerning heart.
So it's more about asking questions,
Yes.
exploring possibilities, and finding what resonates with our own personal experiences and intuitions.
Exactly. El Libro de los Espíritus invites us on a journey of self-discovery, encouraging us to connect with our own inner wisdom and to approach the mysteries of life and death with courage, compassion, and a sense of wonder.
That's a beautiful message.
It is.
And one that I think resonates deeply in a world that often feels uncertain and complex.
It does.
To remember that we're on a journey of growth, that there's always something more to learn and experience,
Right.
and that love and compassion are ultimately the guiding forces of the universe.
It's a powerful message.
It's a message that offers hope, meaning, and a sense of connection to something far greater than ourselves.
Beautifully said. And as we conclude our deep dive into El Libro de los Espíritus, I encourage our listeners to continue their own exploration of these fascinating concepts.
Yeah.
Read the book for yourself, reflect on its teachings, and see what resonates with your own heart and intuition.
And remember, the beauty of a deep dive is that it's just the beginning of the journey.
Exactly.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking those nuggets of wisdom that illuminate the path ahead.
It's interesting to think like all this exploration of El Libro de los Espíritus leads us back to the afterlife.
It's true. After all, it is called the Book of Spirits, right?
Exactly. It's right there in the title.
Right.
So I got to ask, when it comes to like what lies beyond this earthly experience, does the book offer any comforting assurances?
It does, actually. El
Yeah.
Libro de los Espíritus offers a perspective that many find deeply reassuring.
Okay, like what?
It suggests that the soul, upon leaving the physical body,
Yeah.
doesn't just like disappear or cease to exist.
Right. Instead, it transitions back to the spirit world,
Okay.
carrying with it the lessons learned and the progress made during its time on Earth.
So it's less about like a definitive ending
Right.
and more about a graduation of sorts.
That's a great way to put it.
Moving on to a new phase of existence.
Death, as presented in El Libro de los Espíritus,
Yeah.
is not an end, but a homecoming,
Okay.
a return to the spiritual realm from which we originated.
But if we're like constantly evolving,
Yeah.
constantly learning and growing,
Right?
what does that mean for the afterlife?
That's a great question.
Is it a place of eternal rest?
Okay.
Or is there something more dynamic going on?
This is where El Libro de los Espíritus gets really interesting.
Okay.
It suggests that the spirit world is not some static realm
Okay.
where we simply float around on clouds,
Right.
but rather a vibrant, dynamic place where spirits continue to learn, grow, and even work towards the betterment of humanity.
So even after we've shed these earthly bodies,
Yeah.
there's still work to be done.
There is
Still room for growth and evolution.
absolutely. The pursuit of spiritual enlightenment doesn't end with physical death.
Wow.
In fact,
Yeah.
El Libro de los Espíritus suggests that our evolution may actually accelerate in the spirit world,
Really?
freed from the limitations of the physical form.
Huh. That's pretty mind-blowing.
It is a fascinating concept.
It is. What do spirits actually do in this ever-evolving afterlife?
Well, according to El Libro de los Espíritus,
Okay.
spirits engage in a variety of activities,
Okay. Like what?
many of which mirror those we find meaningful here on Earth.
Okay.
They study, they learn, they create, they form relationships,
Wow.
and they even continue to work towards the betterment of humanity
Okay.
by serving as guides and protectors for those still living.
So even after we're gone, we can still have a positive impact on the world.
That's the idea.
Still contribute to making it a better place.
That's a beautiful aspect of the spiritualist perspective.
It really is.
El Libro de los Espíritus suggests that love and compassion transcend the boundaries of life and death, and that our capacity to do good in the world doesn't end when we take our last breath.
It's a very comforting thought, knowing that even after we're gone, we can still play a part in the grand symphony of existence.
Exactly. And this interconnectedness between the physical and spiritual realms is a recurring theme in El Libro de los Espíritus. It reminds us that we're not isolated beings, but rather part of a larger web of life that extends far beyond our limited human perception.
This has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on life, death, and everything in between.
I'm glad to hear that.
As we wrap things up,
Yeah.
is there any a final overarching message
Okay.
you think listeners should take away from El Libro de los Espíritus?
If there's one thing I hope listeners take away from our exploration of El Libro de los Espíritus,
Yeah.
it's the importance of approaching life with a sense of wonder, curiosity, and an open heart.
Okay.
The book encourages us to question, to seek, and to never stop learning and growing,
Okay.
both in this life and whatever lies beyond.
It's a beautiful message and one that I think resonates really deeply.
It does.
In a world that often feels so uncertain and complex,
Absolutely.
to remember that we're on a journey of growth, that there's always something more to learn and experience, and that love and compassion are ultimately the guiding forces of the universe.
It's a powerful message.
It's a message that offers hope, meaning, and a sense of connection to something far greater than ourselves.
It is. And as we conclude our deep dive into El Libro de los Espíritus,
Yes.
I encourage our listeners to continue their own exploration of these fascinating concepts.
Yes.
Read the book for yourself, reflect on its teachings, and see what resonates with your own heart and intuition.
And remember, the beauty of a deep dive is that it's just the beginning of the journey.
Exactly.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep seeking those nuggets of wisdom that illuminate the path ahead.